Watch my live, yes.
Is the plane going down? Are we gonna die? Why are you saying I'm sorry?
Hey guys, sorry, I'm just trying to finish getting set up with my light. How are you guys? I hope everyone's having a great day. Well, it's kind of a sad day because we're going to be talking Real Housewives of New Jersey and how Page 6 just dropped an article that they could be on pause till at least 2024. And they might not even resume filming then. And nobody noticed this article. I don't understand. This is crazy. So we're going to talk about it, guys. But of course, before, like I said, always, everything in this video is alleged. Everyone is welcome to join in on the chat, as long as your comments are respectful and kind. It doesn't matter if you're a tree hugger or not. You are welcome. Everyone has a seat at the table. Hi, Monica. Also good to see you. I'm glad you could come on the live. Hey, Deb. Hey, Angel Eyes. Hey, K Mama. Can you guys believe this news? People are so caught up in Watch What Happens Live and the reunion and Melissa and Joe that no one has really picked up on the fact that this could be their last season. We don't know what's going on. Also, guys, I'm going to point out to you, there was an interview done where the ladies were actually complaining about their filming schedule. It was an interview, and we're going to talk about that too, because that actually is telling a lot. Also, do we think that this could possibly be a punishment, right? Is it possible that Bravo is punishing the ladies? Maybe we heard some of them were doing interviews that were not Bravo approved, that Bravo and producers were reaching out and some of the housewives weren't answering. They would just continue to do interviews and podcasts, and they were just basically ignoring Bravo. They were doing whatever they wanted. So maybe they are possibly putting them on pause for that reason. So we're going to get into all of that. There's a lot to unravel. First of all, let's get started with this page 6 article. Basically, what it said was very telling. I'm not sure who the source was, but they said that the Real Housewives of New Jersey is not set to film in the fall. So we're not going to be getting Christmas in Real Housewives of Christmas in New Jersey for next season, because of the fact that we may not see a next season, because the last time that Bravo reached out to the staff, they said that they don't even know if they'll pick back up in 2024. That's a pretty powerful thing to say about this franchise. Like, let's let that sink in for a second. So my question is, like, New Jersey, what is such a popular franchise? Is this them punishing the women? Like, is this a punishment for the blogs? Is this a punishment because of the fact that they have been defiant against Bravo? They released information. They released stuff to the blogs. Like, do you guys think it's that? Or is it possible, and I mentioned this, guys, I mentioned this in my video, I think yesterday or the day before, I said, these women live paycheck to paycheck. They live paycheck to paycheck, because the more money you make, the more money you spend, okay? And the page 6 article said that some of the women are concerned financially, right? And the other women are, happy to have a break. So that is what brings me, they use the word hiatus. That brings me to the interview that the 3 ladies did. I can't remember the podcast name. I'm going to have to put in the comments. It's like 2 girl podcasters. I think they're located in New Jersey because they've had the New Jersey men on their podcast too. I want to say it's like, I can't remember the name. I'm going to have to put it in the damn chat. But they interviewed Melissa, Margaret, and Dolores. And I talked about this interview a couple of days ago because Carol, who is my friend, I found her on YouTube, and she sends me such great stuff that she sent me. And I had seen it before. I'd seen the interview before, but I hadn't really talked about it. So we're going to talk about it. The ladies are complaining about their filming schedule. They start talking about summers in New Jersey and filming on the Jersey Shore, and the podcasters kind of open up into like, well, do you guys get tired of like filming every summer? And Dolores is like, well, it has been like 6 summers that we filmed. And she's like, I'm not complaining, but it would be nice to, maybe have a summer off. But, she made it very much like she was grateful, but she would take a summer off if they offered it. And Melissa kind of chimes in. She's like, oh, I'm complaining. Like, I want a summer off. It would be nice to have it, yada, 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 yada. Her and Margaret kind of go on and on about it. And I think it's funny now that now page 6 is coming out like, oh, you got in with this article, Bravo's like, oh, you guys don't want to film this summer? Okay. Did you want a paycheck this summer? Oh, okay. I feel like Bravo's punishing them, and I also feel like Bravo's weeding out maybe some of the women that are not housewives material. I don't know how their contracts are drawn up. The contracts were mentioned in the page 6 article, because those are always my first question, right? I'm like, when I talk to David Yontiv, usually my questions are legal. I'm like, what does the contract say? Like, what does Bravo have to honor? Like, what do they have to honor? Page 6 article actually mentioned the contracts, like, basically no one has a contract. There's just nothing, non-existent. And I feel like this could be a maneuver done by Bravo. One, maybe they're making an example out of New Jersey. Maybe they're like, you know what? We want to get all these other franchises in line. And these women think that if they get too big or they're popular or, everyone loves a New Jersey franchise. So then, the cast or some of the women run amok, leaking stuff to the press. They just do whatever they want. They don't really have a lot of regard for production, I guess, because they feel like they can do whatever they want because the franchise is popular. And what's going to happen? Like, Bravo's not going to get rid of us, I mean, think about it. Joe and Melissa both are on Bravo. So that would be two people Bravo would have to fire. Not to mention, what sort of honoring in the contract do they have if they fire them? Like, do they have to give them a payout? Do they have to pay them unemployment? Do they pay? I don't know how it works. I'm sure that every single one of them is different. However, if they know that the people are financially strapped and they say, we're going to put you guys on pause, right? Knowing that it's going to cause financial stress and people like maybe Marge, who has these lawsuits. We know she hasn't paid her accountant in 3 years, allegedly. I don't want to say that they're crumble, and I don't want to say that like everyone wants to see that, because I don't think anyone wants to see people crumble. But when you're living paycheck to paycheck and then you don't have a paycheck anymore, I think they're going to be in trouble. And maybe they're trying to weed them out that way, like, so they don't have to do any sort of compensation. They're like, you know what, we're going to push back the show like 6 or 8 months, and whoever can afford to still be around and have the status of a housewife in 8 months, then we'll consider it then. Because I don't think that Marge has the sort of status, like the money to be a housewife. You know what I mean? And I think that, I don't know what's going to happen with the other ones. Let me read some comments. Let's see here. Someone said, why put Miami on pause? They put Miami on pause for 6 years, and they did it because Miami didn't have the sort of following it has now. I don't know if it was because it was like a Latino. They were in Florida. I mean, old Real Housewives of Miami was amazing, but I just don't think that New Jersey or that the Bravo community had the genre for it at that time. Like, Miami's ahead of its time. Honestly, it's been ahead of its time. I was looking for Deb's comment because someone was like, I agree, Deb, I agree. Okay. John's my dad. I need to change that. Used to be my email. Let me see here. I wanted to see your comment. Okay, it says, both Fudas get on my nerves. They both act. He looked up to heaven when Joe said, I don't want hate in my daughter's life. Oh my gosh, so cheesy. Deb also says, all Jersey episodes feel like fillers this past season. So much hype, and it was tired and slow with Gorgas and Margaret making me nauseous. It has seemed like a lot of episodes are fillers. I agree. I do agree with that. And it's disappointing because that's what I said. Like last week, why didn't they just do a 2-part finale instead of putting that episode in last week that was clearly a filler episode? Like, just give us a 2-part finale. Like, if they were really fighting this badly and it was so intense, then I would assume you guys would have enough footage to put together an hour and a half. But that's just me, guys. Do you think the Gorgas will return? I almost think both Gorgas and Teresa will go because they're so divided. Andy lives Joe and Trey, but is it enough to keep their jobs? I think it's more like Bravo is going to use Melissa and Joe to get every view, click, dollar that they can out of them, because when they cut ties with them, they're basically cutting ties with 2 talents. Because I've thought for a long time that Joe would probably do better by himself if he didn't have Melissa, or maybe she was like a friend of. But I think that in having Melissa on the show, producers they can't be like, hey, Joe, we really like you, but we don't like your wife anymore, right? I feel like they have made themselves a package deal, and it's almost to their demise, because if you take one, you have to take the other, right? Like, even when they were pitching shows, it was Melissa. They're sort of like PK and Dorito, but in a different way. Deb says, I wanted to enjoy Danielle, but she was too nervous trying to keep up with the wealthiest castmates. I'm just, Reality. Hey, Danielle doesn't have the money to be a housewife. Her house is worth under 100 million. He is right about this, guys. I think the reason her house is like so nice is because she was on a HGTV reality show that did home remodels. I think it was like a 3-part series or something. It was like a 6-week process. And I think they did her whole house. I mean, her home is it's a nice home and it's very beautiful on the inside, but the area, I guess, is pretty far out. But we also have to remember that where these women live, and I can't even say the name of it. Is it like Paris maybe? It's like in the top 3% of the wealthiest places to live, like in America. Surprisingly enough, like there are a lot of wealthy people, Hamptons, Connecticut, up in that area. So it's a very wealthy area that the ladies live in. But yeah, she lives like an hour away from that, is what the word on the curb is. uh Bill would have been head of the guys. Danielle just doesn't come off as genuine. I think Kim D said this on David's Behind the Velvet Rope, and I agree with her. She said that producers were likely kind of pressuring Danielle to tell what she knew, the rumor. Like it was like her mission, and I don't know why they would have waited till the finale. It just seems so, I don't know. It doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem like everything fell organically in order, like in a timeline. It feels like weird because we haven't really had a storyline other than that. And it almost feels like they got to the end of the season, like, oh shit, we don't really have a lot of content. We don't really have anything going on with Margaret. Like, we love Dolores and Paulie, but they, how much can we show of them? And then we got Jackie, we got Rachel. They kind of used like the new girls and the new girls' confessionals to fill the void between the other castmates not having any storylines, because they were basically introducing 2 new housewives, which that gives a lot more content if you're introducing 2 or 3 new housewives. We didn't really see a lot of Jen Fessler's like home life because I'm not sure why. Maybe she's like, her kids were grown now, she's a little bit, but we saw Danielle, we saw her husband, we met her parents, we heard about the brother, and then we have Rachel and she's trying to adopt, and we have her husband and his ex baby mom. So there was a lot of content that was coming from the new girls and not so much from the existing women, except for the whole Teresa and Melissa fight that we've been waiting for all season to see. And I think some of us might be disappointed. I'm not sure. Oh, thank you, Freddie. You're the best. Freddie's got it. Hold on. Isn't that great of an area? I know, but if you look it up on Google, that is actually is what it's like, the area, because I was very curious because I had never heard of that area either, and I'm like kind of in that tri-state zone, and someone told me that it was like super duper rich area. There were like only 5 gyms in the whole town, and this is how allegedly they found out about Jackie's husband doing the damn thing with another girl in this town. Also, I think Frank and Dolores own like a couple of gyms together as well. I'm not sure if they still do, but they did. Maybe it's just Frank now. Who knows? And how about Marge telling everyone that Paulie was married? What do you guys, I mean, it is like, I have so many questions. I have so many questions. What happened? First of all, it's like hard to tell because in the confessionals, they redo the confessionals all the time. Like, they say they have to go dress up and give production the same look, but they interview different times after different things have happened. And I just want to know what made Margaret go into the after show and say that about Paulie. What the hell is going on? Like, what happened, I wonder? What transpired that Margaret got mad at Dolores, mad enough that she would go into the after show and say that about Paulie, knowing that they had just filmed all season? And did she tell us he was married? Did she just not say? Because I felt like she told us he was divorced. And, Dolores doesn't lie. She's not a liar. She really doesn't lie. Maybe she didn't know. I don't know. But it kind of blows the whole, oh, I have a great relationship with my ex, but we've been in a nasty divorce for 7 years. What? That doesn't make any sense, does it? Somebody help me out, guys. Does that make sense? What's going on? Why are Dolores and Marge fighting? Because why else would Marge say that unless she was mad at Dolores? She wouldn't say it if they were friends. She would keep the secret because it's obviously a secret, or we would know about it, right? Why didn't we know about it? Allegedly, he's been in like trying to get divorced for like 7 years, which is a long time to be in a divorce. Even if you have a lot of money, I think that's a long time to be in a divorce, even if you have a lot of money. Dolores's house is in North Halden. Is that her house, Groovy, or where her and Paulie live? Paulie and Dolores implied he was still married. Okay, thank you. I couldn't remember. Because Dolores made up with Jennifer. Yes. Dolores's house. Paulie is still married. I just wasn't sure if she had or not. Am I the only one who noticed Margaret's look so evil when Jennifer and Dolores were asked why they were giving a party together? I feel like Margaret was a little bit out of character. I don't know if she was drinking. I don't know what was going on, but she was not happy during that party. You could tell she was mad. And I don't know what her deal was. She looked mad and evil the whole time. And if you guys noticed, did you see Melissa like holding her back? I was dying. Like, why are you having to hold this lady back? What is she gonna do? Throw hands with Danielle? Like, come on. And Margaret goes after Danielle for saying it, which doesn't even make a lot of sense. I don't know. And why at the finale? Why at the finale before the wedding? That's why I feel like production has to be involved in this scheme. Because why would you do that? I don't feel like she would do that. Don't you think that Danielle has enough sense to be like, even if she didn't want to tell her at the shower, I still think she would have had enough sense to not tell her 2 days before Teresa and Louis get married. I'm just sorry. I just don't think that that's the case. That seems wild to me. Why would she do that? 2 days, I mean, everyone knew it was 2 days before Louis and Teresa's like rehearsal dinner. And then they basically end up making some of the wedding special about Teresa or about Joe and Melissa because of how upset Teresa is. And then also, oh my gosh, Groovy, are you okay? What happened, Groovy? I'm sorry, I missed a comment. Melissa and Joe not going to the wedding anyways, regardless of when this came out. I agree with you. I don't think that they really had planned on going to the wedding. But what happened, guys, and I posted something from a couple of years ago. It basically was an article talking, Joe and Melissa were talking about they were having some like issues in their marriage and how they repaired it. And I was trying to explain to everyone that we have to remember that they filmed this a year ago, right? So they filmed this a year ago in August, and they were speaking about a rumor that came out a year prior. So by the time we as viewers viewed this, the rumor was then 2 years old. So it just seems a little strange that Melissa would be so irate towards Teresa. It's almost like she was waiting. Like, don't you guys think it was like almost like she was waiting? Because hypothetically, say that Louis and Teresa call Joe over to their house and tell him what happened. Say he doesn't go home and tell Melissa right away. When he does tell Melissa, of course cannot go after Teresa immediately because she has to go on damage control and she has to find out what is really going on, right? Because she would have had to, her first phone call would have been Margaret. Like, Margaret, you told your friend Laura, now your friend Laura is out here telling Jennifer and Teresa. I'm sure that Margaret and Melissa had words. I'm sure that they had words. So once she had made sure that everything was clear, Woody's story was straight, everyone's story was straight about what happened, then she probably called Teresa and shoot her a new asshole. There's no way she did not say anything to Melissa to Teresa for 2 years, knowing, or even a year, I'm sorry, for a whole year, holding animosity, just waiting for Teresa to bring it out so that she could, whatever. Also, guys, on my HW historian number 2 on Instagram, I posted some photos that were posted. Teresa's wedding was like a 4-day weekend. I think like there was a rehearsal dinner, wedding, and then a brunch the next day. There might have been other events, but primarily that's what I remember. And Teresa's brother and sister-in-law and their whole family were posting that night. They were all like out drinking and having a good time, and they were posting like taking like the whole everyone like a whole family shot and putting this is us, this is our family. And Teresa's brother was posting it and saying like blood doesn't make you family. And this is why we see Teresa crying in the wedding special. So I did share those on Instagram. Some people were like, those aren't going to make it into the episode, but it looks like they did make it into the episode because they're going to be in the wedding special. Typically, they don't show that sort of thing, especially when it comes to MG's family. Thanks, Lindsay from Manchester, UK. Hey, Jeff's mom. You're getting me through the midweek Wednesday. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Angel, they are disgusting. I know. Being mad, Teresa called her husband sounded ridiculous. Joe is Teresa's brother. Carolina, hi. Hello from the UK. Sorry, my bill ain't. No, glad to have you joined in, guys. Make sure everyone hits the like button. Make sure you're subscribing to my channel, guys. I always go live when I have tea because I like to channel my like tea, hot tea, and do things, exclusive, whatever, through my YouTube before I put it on the other platforms. So it kind of gives you guys a little bit of a benefit, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't have a Patreon, so I don't have somewhere that I put everything exclusive. I just take it to YouTube first and tell you guys to make sure that you have your notifications on, hit the bell and make sure you're following so that way when I go live, when I have tea, you don't miss it. So, and if you guys just hit the like button, it's like a free, easy way to help support my channel and help the algorithm get my video out. So, all right, guys, let's chat some more. I wanted to chat also about Kim D mentioned that, do you guys remember Priscilla, like from she was like Teresa's makeup artist. She was a real pretty girl, and I think Teresa and her like used to hang out. Oh, thank you, Indica. Teresa and her used to hang out a little bit, I think. I mean, we saw her on the show doing Teresa's makeup, but maybe after Teresa got divorced from Joe Giudice, after he, got home to Italy, his home, I guess, she, I think, hung out with Priscilla a lot. Like, Priscilla's a makeup artist, and after she started doing Teresa, we would see her on Watch What Happens Live, Bravo. She started doing like everyone that was coming to New York, like Kyle Richards, all of them were coming, and she would do their makeup and stuff for Watch What Happens Live. And she like does an amazing job. But I think her and Teresa were pretty close. And Kim D mentioned that there might have been like hurt feelings when they weren't asked to be in Teresa's wedding, like Priscilla, and I guess the hairdresser is someone who Teresa's really close with too. And even though they are her glam squad, people were saying like she still could have had them in the wedding or figured out a different glam team, whatever the case may be. And I saw this video. Priscilla was doing Teresa's makeup for Watch What Happens Live last night. Did you guys watch What Happens Live last night with Teresa? Louis was in the audience with James Leonard, which is, yes, their attorney, but he's also Melissa Feaster's friend. Melissa Feaster is she was bartending, and they're friends. So what is the Teresa supposed to do? Invite the whole world? Right. Exactly. Um, so anyways, guys, I like noticed that we saw Priscilla last night doing Teresa's makeup on Watch What Happens Live. So I thought that was really cute. Glad to see that they were working together. I think it was like in a video maybe that I saw her. She looked real cute and had her hair cut kind of short. Nothing personal. Bravo changed the guest list multiple times. No one can blame Teresa. I do agree with you about that, Carolina. Teresa mentioned that. She said that was one of the reasons that they were kind of holding off on whether they wanted to actually have the wedding filmed or not, because Bravo has to get approval for everything, right? So in order to do that, then that means they can only play certain songs. They can only invite certain people. Like hypothetically she wanted to invite Nene Leakes, she couldn't invite her because technically it's a Bravo event, right? And then also we didn't see Andy Cohen's presence, which I kind of thought I thought it would have been cool for him to attend the wedding. And he puts in his book that Teresa even mentioned having him like officiate the wedding. And I wasn't quite sure why he didn't want to, I understand that he's like the boss, he's the executive producer, yada yada yada, but this is also his employee of 13 years. Like, they could have cut him out, he could have stayed out of the camera's way, he could have attended if he wanted to. I don't know, something just made that kind of didn't sit right with me. There's a lot of inserts in the book that are actually being read and posted. I don't know if you guys are online checking those out, those inserts, but some of them are not showing Andy Cohen in the best light. And sometimes it sounds like he is like not helping Teresa by any means. Like, his conversation with Caroline Manzo and how she feels activated by Teresa, and their numbers are never going to line up, so it's never going to happen. But yet he puts that all in the book about talking to the ladies. I don't know. It was just a little bit strange. Angel Eyes says yes, but if he does it for one, he has to do it for everyone and then their children. So he said it's just easier to say no. That completely makes sense. Barbara says, Angel Eyes, yes, but what about Louis hiring a private investigator? So weird. Do you guys remember that I've been telling you guys that there's something that was coming out at the reunion? I didn't give it all. I couldn't give it all to you guys, but I've known that for a while now. When I was talking about the gentlemen getting their own show on a 3-letter network and then everything getting canceled. Do you guys remember when I told you guys about this? Remember, we were talking about why is there so much animosity between the men? Like, obviously Joe and Louis have an issue, but really it seems like there's animosity between all of them, and it feels like they sort of like are having to take teams, even though they don't want to take teams, and they're saying publicly in statements that they're not taking teams. It just feels like we know Joe B is close with Joe G, and we know Frank and Joe have known each other for a long time, so they're just kind of guilty by association, because obviously they've just known each other for a very long time, so it's hard for Louis to come in and maybe navigate things. However, there still felt like animosity going on behind the group. And this was it, guys. This was what was the dinger. This was at the finale, Louis saying that he had all of them investigated. So all of them stewed on this information until the reunion when they spoke about it. Because I mean, I'm assuming they didn't speak about that until the reunion after they filmed it in the finale, right? Private investigator friend, probably. I think that it's very common for rich people to look people up. I think that I hope that women that have money when they date, they look people up before they go out with them. I don't know. I am surprised, but not surprised. It's like, okay, it's hypothetically, like, let's play this out though. Hypothetically, okay, Louis pays or has his private investigator investigate everyone on the cast, and he brings back folders maybe on everyone. Okay, and so then what? They leak it out? Was the purpose of it? Like, just to leak it online? I don't understand. Like, I think the men felt like it was a smear campaign against them, is how they felt. But there's the incident at the Gansevoort between Melissa and Joe, and that put a very bad light on Teresa's brother, JG. It just did. Put him in a very, very bad light. People were not happy about that. They did not like that. Joe Gorga drinks too much, and he can't even do comedy. Oh, goodbye, Margaret and Melissa and their husbands. Bring Brittany on with Frank. I think we would love to see Brittany on with Frank. People have said that before, but I think that what I've been told is like she just doesn't want to deal with the social media, and who can blame her? Like, again, if there are people digging in the cast past and leaking different things to the public, like, do you want your whole like everything that bad decision you made maybe aired? You just don't know. Some of the inserts are being misconstrued. Also, I brought the audiobook and I'm rolling my eyes at some of these quotes being said. Sutton from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills hires PSIs to check her potential dates. Yeah, I mean, when you're like a rich person, I'm sure that, I mean, rich people co-sign for rich people. That's the advantage. But I mean, I'm saying like hypothetically, if you don't really know much about someone or you don't know much about the person that set you up with someone, especially women look into it. But it's like you looked into it, but how deep did you guys go and what was the reason and what did you do with the information hypothetically if you did? Because what was so terrible that came out about them that would have came from Louis and Teresa? I guess is like my question. Like, what information would have came from Louis and Teresa that we wouldn't have known, seen, or been posted anyways? Like all of the legal stuff that we've seen with Margaret in the lawsuits usually gets picked up by the papers. It's public record. It's easy to find, especially like in New Jersey. I don't know why, but these like girls are like so good at navigating the county clerk site. And just like Barbara is saying, everyone has skeletons. Exactly. Yep. I felt that he just said that in the moment. And he could have. I just felt like we should play that out and like just play it out hypothetical and be like, okay, say that he was like, investigate them and the guy comes back with a folder, then what happens? We didn't hear anything terrible about any of the cast that we didn't know or that wasn't public record, and that's like a question for you guys. Did we? I mean, I don't think that we didn't hear a lot about Margaret. We didn't hear a lot about, she didn't talk about her kids or their relationship. That wasn't brought up on the show. And there might have been comments here and there online, but there was nothing majorly put out there bad about her and her people that I can remember, or Joe. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems so wild to me. And then Dolores, like I've obviously I don't think that Louis and Teresa, I think they like Dolores. I don't think they would, and I think Teresa's known Dolores her whole life. So if anyone knows their dirt, they probably know each other's dirt. Um, Louis last Groovy says that Louis said last night he just said it in the heat of the moment. Yes, yes, yes. That's what he said. If Margaret can dig everyone's past, anyone can. Exactly. And maybe that's what they were doing. Maybe they were just like, maybe hypothetically, I mean, I don't know. He should have just said, like, yeah, I did. And like, and so does everyone else. Like everyone has folders on everyone. And when you threaten to come for me, I grab my folder on you and you grab your folder on me and we go to war. Checkmate. I don't know. Like, I feel like it felt uncomfortable last night on Watch What Happens Live when Andy asked about it. Andy felt like, did you guys feel the awkward moment when he was like, what happened? And I asked Instagram, 85% people said that Teresa is right in sticking up for Louis and that they think that he just said it at the heat of the moment. Shay's like, Lucy. Maybe that's why Margaret was shaking so much this year. Oh, because she was on the weight loss Ozempic. It was messing with her blood sugar probably. She's very, very slender now. I think she posted videos from an event or something. She's very slender. Every time she yelled at somebody, she couldn't control herself. She was shaking. She was so upset and scared. She probably was scared for what else was about to come out. I'm telling you, Margaret knows a lot about Melissa because Margaret was helping that girl. Every account that I know about MG is that she is not making moves. She needs help. And I feel like Margaret, who is like, she's a professional, if you will, because she says her and her current husband, were together for 2 years behind each other's spouses' backs. I think that's why like the children have a lot of issues with each their spouses. Now that might be something you should lie about. That you might just want to lie, deny that just for the sake of your family. I don't know. I mean, like the whole I investigated you. I mean, I investigated you. Have a great day. And like, I don't know. Hey, Steven. Angel Eyes. No, I don't think it's because she thought Louis had a folder on her and Joe. That's why she was shaking. Oh, she thinks it's because she thought Louis had a folder on her and Joe B. And that's why she was shaking so much. That makes sense. I'm interested to see what the dynamic's going to be like at the wedding. Or not at the at the wedding, but also Because, and how does Margaret show up at their wedding 2 days after this? She's ready to throw hands at Danielle. Danielle was also present at the wedding, by the way. This is what is like so crazy to me. So Marge goes to Teresa's wedding after all of this. Well, she's obligated, paycheck. Jackie didn't get paid because Jackie's friend of role was over, so she must have just been going as like the invite. And then you have Danielle who went. So then you have Margaret wanting to throw hands with Danielle, and then 2 days later they're attending this Bravo wedding, a huge event. It's all a little crazy. Thank you, Angel Eyes. That's what I was trying to say, but I wasn't trying to be rude about it. Damn it, I just had a piece of tea. I want to tell you guys I lost my train of thought on it, and I hope it comes back because it was good tea. Sometimes that happens. Margaret getting paid to go. Absolutely, Margaret was getting paid to go. She admitted that she couldn't deny it. I don't know if she was like actually part of the whole wedding special. I don't think so. I think she was just paid to attend the event. And you think this man has a folder on you and then you go to the wedding? Like, come on now. Barbara says Margaret has been shaken all season. I think so too. Like her vein is like popping out of her face like every time she gets mad and she starts yelling, like in Ireland. Margaret says the Seahawk did not want to throw hands. She would have got her. Margaret stayed for a cocktail hour and left. Yes, you're right. Okay, Mama, she did. Did Jackie stay longer? I can't remember. Melissa's alleged affair isn't her first, in my opinion. During the Ireland trip, she said something about having her ex-boyfriend on speed dial. Again, guys, I agree. Like, that is a wild ass comment. We've talked about this before. Like, if you're literally talking about your ex from 15, 20 years ago, like, if I wanted to get a hold of one of my exes from 10 years ago, I would have to make lots and lots of phone calls to get a hold of. I mean, I guess I could try to get on Facebook and find him and friend request him and then message him through Messenger, I guess. But to like actually text him or have his phone number, like, I don't have that shit. I would have to like get a hold of a lot of people to do that. So yeah, that's definitely strange. Producers put that in there. I'm surprised. I think that the ladies didn't know if it would make the cut or not. I often wonder how Joe took that, and I was kind of looking to see what their dynamic was like in the press, like a couple of weeks prior to that episode airing, because I wanted to see like if they were because I'm sure one, Melissa wouldn't have known if it was going to be part of the episode or not either. So she would have only known once she got the episode because they do send it to them in advance. It just depends on how far in advance. So once she saw the episode, she obviously would have had to went to Joe and said, this is what happened. I was joking. I said this, the camera, they cut it, yada, yada. She would have had to done all of that. And I almost feel like that's around the time she went to watch What Happens Live, only because the way that they answered like the questions, and usually Melissa like talks Joe up as her man, and he was building her house with his own 2 hands, and she was not worried about him. When it comes to this stuff, he's on his own because she does not really care about that with him. Seriously, I'm swear to God. I'm just saying it's very crazy. I just can't believe that this franchise we've been watching for 13 years, I don't think that we can understand that this could be the last reunion for who knows how long. Marge and Jackie went to bring Melissa up on camera at the wedding. That's funny. K Mama says Joe flipped on Melissa. I heard that. I heard like he's like, he's like the guy that's like, get your shit, get out of my house. We all know those ones, right? Some women are like, okay, and they like pack their bags, and some women don't. Barbara said, I think Jersey is good for over. Damn, you do? Was Joe Gorga drunk during Watch What Happens Live? I think I think that I don't know. Like his Italian family reminds me a lot of like was around an Italian family like that for a long time, for years. And they like drank at every occasion, every birthday party, like kid's birthday, family birthday, Christmas, holidays, Cinco de Mayo, Patrick's Day, Mother's Day, whatever it was. Like that was just that they how they celebrated. Like they celebrated with drinks and food, and it didn't mean that everyone drank at that event or that it was always the same person. Maybe they got a little tipsy at each event. It just usually was a celebration. That's how they celebrated. And I just think that maybe they have the habit of probably having drinks a couple of nights a week, whereas some people like Bill and Jennifer Aiden, Bill's a doctor, he's in surgery week, daily, weekly, back to back. They don't have the luxury of going into work a little bit hungover, because you're a provider and your people's lives are in your hands. So maybe they don't get to go out as much. And that was kind of my point with everyone saying like Bill was drunk and he fell on the ground or whatever. And my point always to everyone was the man probably goes out like twice a year. He works a ton. He probably goes out twice a year. So if you only went out twice a year, how drunk are you going to get? Like, you're probably going to get really drunk because you don't get to drink ever. So I always am giving Bill, I'm giving him a card. I'm giving him a get out of jail free card, because that's not a weekly, monthly, yearly, decade long thing, right? Angel Eyes says Joe always drinks. He drinks every day. A lot of people have said that. A lot of people said his eyes look messed up, or I don't know what his drinking habits are. We can only assume. I don't know. Remember Joe Giudice used to make homemade wine, and he would have all that homemade wine. And when he was really stressed, when Teresa was in prison, if you guys remember, when Teresa was in prison, he was at home with the girls, but he was also anticipating his own 3.5-year prison sentence and offering moral support to Teresa while she was going through her time away. And I think he drank a lot because he was very heavy when he went away. If you remember Joe Giudice, when he went away to prison, he was heavy, very, very heavy. And then when he went to prison, he lost a lot of weight. And I think it was the homemade wine, right? Wine can make you gain weight, has a lot of calories in it. And he probably was, if you have an endless amount because you make your own wine, then you probably drink it. If you love wine enough, if you love wine enough that you're making homemade wine, then you probably enjoy a glass on the regular because it's something you enjoy. Correct? Am I correct? I mean, I would think it would be the same with like a THC cultivator, right? They love the plant. They love to grow it. They love to dry it and yada yada yada. And so then they probably smoke more than the average person because they have this love for cultivation. That would just be my assumption on how it is for like making homemade wine and drinking every night of the week. Angel Eye says, I miss my father's wine though. See? And Groovy says, homemade limoncello. Probably. Yeah, so it's accessible. And we know that Kim Zolciak from the Real Housewives of Atlanta is allegedly buying cases of Italian wine from vendors out of restaurants. Remember he did a flip and knocked his tooth out? Oh my gosh, I forgot Angel Eyes. A lot of people commenting, they miss Juicy Joe. They miss his commentary. He was funny. There is an account. It's Bambi. I can't remember the name. I want to say it's Bambi. And she's posting some really great old clips. And there was an old clip of Joe Giudice. It was all of them like in the van traveling. If you guys remember, old New Jersey episodes were the best because Teresa and Joe traveled with their children. They didn't leave their children at home to go on vacation, right? They went to Italy with like a 2-year-old, like the kids and old people. I think they brought their parents too, because even Jacqueline was like, we have to walk through this town. What about old people and children? Like, and Teresa's like, the town is too small for a car. Like it's that old. Like that's how they do it. We walk here. And they were like in the van going somewhere, and Joe Giudice they must have been fighting about who was calling each other what. And so Joe Giudice does a cheer and he's like, here's to stupid idiot, here's to horseface, here's to Josephine, like making a joke, calling everyone by the name that they had allegedly been called behind their back by each other. And it like broke the silence and it was funny. He did have a great sense of humor. And I think people miss that a little bit. We don't see that so much from Louis, but that just could maybe be the edit, guys. We have to remember they got an edit. This says on Watch What Happens Live, Teresa answered she doesn't believe the Melissa rumors, very diplomatic, but roles versed her brother and his wife would be like, who knows? She looked really pretty. Looks like Louis finally messed with the wrong guy. This is why the next season is paused. Louis jumped the shark. It's done. It's over. Louis finally met who's Beau? I don't know who this is. This is why the next season is paused. Tell me more, please. Tell me more. Angel Eyes. That's why the show used to be good, because we saw the kids and the interaction with Joe was hilarious. Please tell me more about this. Because I keep saying it doesn't make pause. Okay, I don't know who that is. I'm gonna have to do a little research. I'm like racking my mind on who that is, but that name doesn't ring a bell to me. Okay, I will. Because I've been wondering what's going on, like what has transpired. If you guys read into the page 6 article, you'll notice that page 6 also is like, what the hell is going on? They put in there, production cameras were ready to roll in June after the airing of Teresa's wedding special. Production was ready to pick up and start rolling for season 14. And now they have told the ladies to go plan their summer vacations if they can afford one, because they're not coming back. Even they don't even know if they are, and if so, it wouldn't be till 2024. Wow. Okay, she says you do. Trust me, honey. Okay, all right, I will. Are you on Instagram? If so, DM me. We got to chat. Housewife Historian. Oh, it's HW Historian 2 is my Instagram. I posted the whole page 6 article on there for you guys. I just also wanted to point out that we were so distracted by the reunion and by the finale and by everything that's going on. We didn't even like, nobody even saw this article come out. Like, everyone's posting reunion and clips and Watch What Happens Live, and I'm like, hello New Jersey fans, like, PSA, like, what is this? Call your sources, get with your people, find out what's going on. You know what page 6 just said? Y'all over here posting clips. You'll notice that page 6 is telling us that the whole freaking franchise might be canceled. And that means all the people that were blogging and telling you that these people had contracts and this person was coming back and yada, 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 their sources were dead wrong. Because I didn't really hear this from anyone else. Have you guys? I mean, I kind of had speculated that if it was a big enough deal that they had stopped production in June, that it might take a minute to get everything cleared up, whatever the situation was. But I think money changes people's opinions. And if Joe and MG are out their Bravo paychecks, both of them, you have to think about that. That's 2 Bravo paychecks coming into their house. And you can go back and ask any housewife that worked as a housewife and doesn't anymore. Tamra Judge was one of them. She, as soon as she got fired, they immediately put their house on the market. I think they had a rental or had one of Eddie's old houses. They started to, okay, she says Giudice is the private investigator who Louis' friend got the information. Okay, thank you. I thought so, but I wasn't sure and I didn't want to say that. Okay, so, and he is the person that could possibly be affiliated, and that's why maybe we are seeing a pause, is what we're hearing, but we're definitely gonna have to look into that. Why would they cancel a successful franchise? Marlene, I don't think that it is canceled. Again, like, I think they're putting them on pause. I think that Bravo is sort of making an example out of them. I think that everyone online was like building up Melissa and building up Teresa and saying like both of them are the queen of the show. And maybe Bravo wants to say like, if there's no show, how can you be a queen? Like, allegedly, one of the housewives out of New Jersey, when the season first started, she was doing so many. I like this comment, Carolina. I can't wait for the tea from Kim D and David on Saturday. Yes. Me either. Seriously. Because he has a really big announcement. And I chatted with him. And yeah, it's crazy. It's all very, very crazy. Very crazy. And again, it's a successful franchise, but at the same time, they had a housewife who had done multiple interviews with bloggers, with wherever they could basically be heard. And allegedly, you have to get that stuff cleared by Bravo. You can't just be out here willy-nilly doing whatever the F you want to do. And that's what was happening. Like, she had scheduled all these podcasts and production, and Bravo were calling her and telling her to, and she was basically either just like ignoring their phone calls or ignoring their instructions. Again, because are they thinking like, I'm MG and I can like do whatever I want. I've been on this show for 10 years and yada 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 yada. And so the franchise and the network's like, we're gonna put the franchise on pause for a minute and give everyone an opportunity to breathe, including us. I also posted an interview, guys. This is a little bit telling. So if you're really into New Jersey, I would suggest you go watch this podcast. I posted a clip of it onto my Instagram, HW Historian 2. I don't remember the name of the podcast, but it's two young girls. I think they live in New Jersey because they have the visual with the podcast. And it's Margaret, Melissa, and Dolores. And they're all wearing pink. Melissa's wearing a pink dress. Margaret's wearing like a sleeveless pink with a jacket. And Dolores is wearing like a little pink bralette. The women complain about filming in the summer. Like, Melissa straight out comes out and says, I'm complaining about filming the last 6 years in the summer. They talk about their fans, right? Melissa says that her fans are a lot like her and they're about doing the right thing and they're about the truth. And it's just very, very, very telling for what was to come, because I don't know, maybe Bravo execs didn't. Oh, that's what else Melissa said. She said, we haven't had any time off. We've literally been working for the last year. We haven't had an off season because they just haven't let up on us. It's been an entire year and we didn't get an off season. We didn't get a break. Then she complains about having filming the last 6 summers. And I almost feel like maybe the exec saw that and got agitated with that, because maybe they were agitated about how many podcasts she was doing anyways, allegedly. And then she goes on a podcast and complains about filming for the summer and complains and complains and complains. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, all right. Well, you have a great summer without your Bravo paycheck, you and your husband. And then I also thought, well, what if this is Bravo's way of weeding out the housewives that don't have the money to be housewives and that are just living paycheck to paycheck and that have lawsuit after lawsuit and rumor after rumor that they're not paying this person, that they're shoplifting from Home Depot, whatever the case may be. Also, P.S., I want to talk about that for 1 second. Because it was on, I think, like Bravo and Docket, and they gave like their legal perspective on it, but from a person who works with people, that have been in that business of boosting out of a store. And if you remember a time when people would like load up their TV or like a shopping cart at Walmart, like before Walmart got hit to it, they would load up TVs on the bottom of their cart and then walk out of Walmart with them, right? And so people had discussed it that possibly JG had been doing this at Home Depot, and the Bravo docket talked about it on their podcast, and there really just wasn't any legal documentation to back it up. But that doesn't mean that it didn't happen, because a lot of times people that are in like the store that could get caught shoplifting, maybe they don't get caught because they got out of there in time or whatever, but the store has footage. And if they see a person repeatedly coming back, even though they haven't put any legal issued any legal citation on that person, they still can print out a photo and put him in the office. And then when they see him again, a manager sees him, whatever the case may be, they'll know what to do. That's not an uncommon thing that stores, especially when they were breaking, really coming down on the people that were doing things. I mean, I remember like Home Depot would have like copper things, like rolled copper, maybe. I don't know if you can roll copper, but something like that outside, and it would be like loose, and somebody would just go take it, hundreds or like thousands of dollars of copper, whatever the case may be. So when they're really cutting down on all that stuff happening, yes, if they saw a repeated person somehow make it in and out the store several different times with several different things, and the police, never were involved, they could print out a picture of him and put it in the office for the managers. That absolutely could happen, even though there's no record of him being arrested or a police report. That's just the discretion of the company. JG walking out of his contractor's area with free stuff. I mean, I'm not sure how he did it, or if he did it, because it was always alleged that he had to send other people into Home Depot for him. But there was also stories about when like lumber got really high, he owed a lot. I didn't know this. I had to ask questions because I don't know about construction, guys. I guess when you buy lumber, you do it from like I want to say like a lumber yard, and maybe you have an account that you pay like monthly or bi-weekly. You don't maybe pay every time you go. I'm not sure. However, he racked up money to like the lumber place, and he had to send other people to go um because he couldn't, because of what he owed. I think that it was like around COVID when lumber got really, really high too. And also, what I wanted to say was, when all of the housewives get fired or get laid off, they usually start to downsize if they are like, if it's permanent, or if they're very financially aware, they downsize. Tamra, like I said, guys, as soon as she got fired, she downsized because that was her major income. Now Vicky has her insurance business, so Vicky's wealthy with or without. Of course, our HOC helped her with her business. Of course, it got her attention, but she doesn't have to worry. They downsized. Gretchen from RHOC, she also said the same thing, because I think her and Slade were both getting paychecks as well. And she said that when they lost their Bravo paychecks, it was like a big, big loss. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Maybe it's Bravo's way of weeding out the housewives that really have just been barely making it, but they're not paying their accountants, or they're not paying. Maybe Bravo's sick of hearing about their cast owing people money, because if it is not JG, it is MJ. Like, if it's not one, it's the other. There's so many out there, and so much money. I mean, the $110,000 lawsuit that we saw put on Joe and Melissa for materials, that's a lot of money. Like, you got to pay people. You got to pay people. And I don't know if maybe Louis and them found like stuff that, and they gave it to the network, and maybe that's why it's on pause. Has anyone considered the fact that maybe Louis' investigator found something on someone from their past, maybe their college days, and they turned it into the network? I don't know. Sometimes they don't prosecute, they're on a no-fly list. Thank you. Tamara said, never heard about that one. Doubt it. Yep. They had probably told them that they had big Bravo check every year for the last 10 years. Probably. I also think they borrowed money from people. They're going to come collecting. Oh, Margaret and Joe definitely, they borrowed cash from a couple. I think it was like 65,000 or something crazy, which I don't know how they even did that, because that's a lot of cash to have, but they did. And they didn't pay it back, and they went to court, and they were ordered to pay it back. They had like worked out what happens is that when these places sue somebody like that, they go to court a couple of different times, but because attorney fees are so high, they try to like settle and work it out. And I'm not sure, like mediate and come up with like a couple like large payments instead of trying to pay it at once. Like, okay, Margaret and Joe will say, okay, we'll give you one lump sum of $1,000, and then we'll pay you 500 for the next 3 months, right? And that, hypothetically, if it was like $2,000. So I think Margaret and Joe allegedly, I think they made like a couple of payments and then fell off. And so they are actually in contempt of that lawsuit because they are behind. And so the couple's having to take them back to court again. And then the accountant filed their lawsuit about not being paid for 3 years. And then people are talking, they're talking about, I don't want to say it. I'll say it in another video. Margaret has so many lawsuits, they're going to need a trailer. Why doesn't she sell that other plot of land? Her house was supposed to be an investment. That's another thing that nobody really knows. But there's a lawsuit, and there was a couple that were supposed to be partners with MJ and her husband. And that home was going to be like a fast flip. It was going to be a fast profit. She said they were going to like remodel it. They were going to move in so that they could get some publicity from the show for the house. And then they were going to sell it. And that the couple would be like getting a turnover plus a profit in a short amount of time. And instead, Margaret and Joe moved in to remodel it and never moved out again. And they never paid the people. And so the people are like, can we have our money? But they got to get in line behind the other people that loaned them the $65K in cash. And then there's the accountant who's now in line to be paid. So, what did Angela? Yes, sorry, looking at that one. So maybe they're just trying to weed it out. It's possible. Maybe they're just trying to weed out the housewives, and maybe they're giving the new housewives an opportunity to kind of come up with something. Like maybe they are. I don't think they're going to try to reconcile Joe. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait for the reunion. And then what's going to happen is Bravo going to announce the pause at the reunion. Is that what they're going to do? Like, is Andy going to tell them on the third part at the end of the day at the reunion that they're going on pause? Maybe they told him before the reunion. So they were like, listen, gloves off. Gloves off, guys, because like their producers came in like, gloves off. I'm hearing word from yada 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 that they canceled filming for June and that we might not even be coming off. So gloves off, go out there, take it like a G, be a gangster. Andy, why all of a sudden Antonia on more lately? I don't know. I also posted a clip, guys, and some people were like shitty with me about it. But if you guys remember, we saw Antonia's 17th birthday and we saw her driving she got the white Porsche, and her grandma was driving down the road, honking the horn. It was like a cute, endearing moment. But I posted a video of Melissa when Melissa and Antonio went to Starbucks. And that same Porsche, which is, okay, maybe there's a million white SUV Porsches in that area because it's wealthy, but it's like it's parked in the driveway. So it didn't make a lot of sense if the car was already there. Like, how did you give it to her for her 17th birthday? Because the scene of Starbucks was filmed way before Antonia's 17th birthday. And someone was like, oh, Joe bought it and he gave it to Melissa to drive. And Antonio thought that he got it for Melissa. Like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Why would Joe go buy the color kind of car make that his daughter wants and give it to his wife? Whatever, I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying that it could have been faked. It could have been like refilmed. Like, we need you to refilm Antonia's 17th birthday and the Porsche surprise. It's because it felt a little, I don't know, like, I don't know though. She cried. Didn't she cry? Did she cry? And then, Dana Wilkie came out and said that it got repoed. Like, I don't think she didn't say it's because they didn't have the money. She said it's like they were careless and forgot to make the payment, and they got it back like right away. But then I guess like she deleted all the photos of it off of her Instagram, and then Melissa posted a photo. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Antonia. And then Melissa reshared it. And it was like a photo of the car. And it was like, the Porsche is here. Like, you guys can quit trying to say that it got repoed because it didn't. And even if it did, we got it back. So, okay, mama. I heard that Bo's daughter wanted to be on the show, but he dug up the information for free. Maybe that's why Antonia didn't want to hug her mom. Maybe. As Sandoval says, I have to tap out. I love that, Groovy. You're so funny. Don't forget Margaret's bags are toxic. Yes, don't forget that they are toxic. I don't even think you can sell them in California because of it. Oh, yeah, Tamara, spill the tea, girl. Andy, why I was okay, there we go. Let's go back down. Bye, Groovy. I hope you have a great day. He did issue a statement. What'd he say? I don't know enough about him. I'm gonna have to look into him. But I think we did hear that like Louis had like, he had connections. But I mean, I think everyone in that area has connections. Everyone in that area like has connections or know people that have connections. So I don't think it would be unsaid if that I don't know. Crazy. And then people said, so on Watch What Happens Live last night, Teresa looked really good. I just want to say that. I loved her gold dress. I loved the split down the side. I thought she looked really, really, really pretty. And I just wonder, like, how the cast is taking all this news. Like, when did they find out? I would say probably not that long ago, though, because if it got leaked to page 6, hypothetically, and hypothetically, this is part of the announcement that maybe David is going to make on Saturday. David Yonchip from Behind the Velvet Rope, because he said he has something big coming on Saturday. I just am like so curious. I just wonder, when did the cast find out? We obviously know who probably leaked it to page 6. You know, that camp over there probably leaked it, because it did say like a couple of negative statements about Teresa. Yeah, exactly, Barbara. Her pocket and the other one's pocket, both of their pockets, 1000%. So I just think it's crazy that, yeah, I just think it's all crazy. So I just want to know what you guys thought. I want to come on, do a live, talk to you guys about it, because again, this is the first that we're really hearing about the franchise going on pause until 2024, if that. I think that they're going to wait to see how everyone really views the reunion. And someone commented she looked broken. I commented, is that you, Joe Gorga? Because it reminded me of when he called Dolo a broken woman. Yep. Hey, Tamara, did he just put out a statement? Yeah, so I don't know, guys. I feel sad because I'm just like, damn. Like you guys said, they're a great franchise. We've been watching them for years, but obviously something needs to change. We didn't have storylines. What we did see was really dark. We're seeing a lot of lies, a lot of things that don't line up. We feel like some people get better edits than other people. Now we're adding Andy's book into the mix. So that's giving us even more commentary and breaking the fourth wall and information of what's kind of going on between them. And it's just a lot of stuff, I think, that is negative and being talked about, and who knows, twisted, turned. You just don't even know, guys. I mean, Andy said that Melissa allegedly wrote him a 2,000 word text message. 2,000 word text message? What did it say? You know what it said. You know what the F it said. So I just think there's so much going on behind the scenes, and so much information, and so many people involved in trying to take each other down, that after having to put a gag order on them, a lot of the housewives, some of them particularly, just doing whatever they wanted. I think Bravo has said, we're putting you guys in a timeout. Denied all Louis said on the show. Bo was on Antoon's ex detective. Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Interesting. I told you guys that there was going to be like a big reveal sort of kind of at the finale, but I just couldn't tell you guys what. So, yep, that's what the whole thing was. This is where a lot of the animosity from the gentlemen are coming from. This is why the husbands, I think, are upset with him, especially the ones that had potential to do the ABC or not ABC, but a 3-letter network. They were going to do a show, the House Husband sort of thing. They allegedly had this deal like ready to go. And yes, the Gansmore Hotel absolutely did not help anything, but here we are, and allegedly all of the information, bad stuff, smear campaigns leaked about other cast members, and causing like the press to be so bad around their show situation. Because like I said, I even posted on my Instagram, I said, like, what happened to the House Husbands? Like, regardless of what's happening between Louis and Teresa, like, everyone loved the House Husbands like 2 years ago. They were ready to have their own show, their own t-shirts. They did the calendar. People were loving the House Husbands. And then all of a sudden, like, people were not loving the House Husbands anymore. And it was like a fast flip-flop. So I think part of what we are seeing is maybe that. I don't know, guys. There's so much. I think there's a lot of dark, and hopefully they can find some light, and hopefully they can find some storylines, and hopefully they can find some women that are housewives material, that check the boxes. We gotta have like 3 major boxes that need to be checked for a new housewife, right? We need to come up with our own sort of checklist for these new housewives, because I don't know. I don't feel like we got it from either of them. I think they're both lovely. They're both very pretty. They both are, have husbands and great lives and kids, and Danielle's children were very entertaining, but I don't know. It's not like they're someone that really, I don't know, stood out. Don't you think we need to ask a little bit more from our housewives? Because if not, what happens is exactly what happened this season. Is the whole season is wrapped around Melissa and Teresa, and the only break that we get from that is when we're seeing introduction material of the new housewives that aren't super duper bringing it either. So I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think, but I'm going to jump off here. Make sure that all of you guys hit that like button. It is a great free way to help support me and my channel, because it helps get my videos out there. Make sure that you guys subscribe to my channel, turn your notifications on. That's how I share all of my tea. I take it through my YouTube first before I go to all the other platforms, because I don't have a Patreon, so that's sort of the advantage of following me, is you're gonna be able to get the tea as soon as I get the tea. I come on and do a live, and then that way you guys can, you're up to speed, right? So hey, Monica. All right, guys. Well, I'm about to end. I hope that you guys enjoy your day, enjoy your Wednesdays, and I will keep you guys posted, because there's gonna be more coming. I can feel it. I can feel it. And I just wish that I could stop asking questions, because maybe if I could just stop asking questions, I could just live happily in my little Real Housewives bubble platform and just, smile and click like. But I just can't. I'm not that person. I need to know. But it gets me in trouble sometimes. Just gets me in trouble. I know. It's okay, Monica. You can replay it, sissy. I promise. It's a good one. You guys will enjoy it. Yes, please. 71 in the chat. If you guys could please hit that like button. Thank you, Angel Eyes. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all of you guys for watching. Hit your notification, and we will chat soon, guys. I'll keep you posted. Make sure you go check out my Instagram, HW Historian with the number 2. Like I said, I posted the entire page 6 article on this whole pause and the possibility of not even coming back in 2024 as it pertains to the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Sad day. Bye, guys.